Akusala Sangaha mind, to focus on one object. Even a non-returner has to deal with restlessness. Let's move on to the 10 kinds of Kilesa. Before we do, though, I want to make sure that you understand that these samyojanas are fetters. They bind beings to be reborn again and again in the round of existence. Just as a rope binds the neck of an ox, these fetters bind all beings and prevent them from running away or going anywhere. They can't go far, right? Especially for ordinary worldlings, these 10 kinds of fetters bind us. That's why we can't go anywhere. Even in this life, our attachment, our anger, or our doubt bind us to a very confining space. Can you see that? Even one rope prevents a creature from running away, but now we have 10 ropes that bind us. That's why we can't go anywhere. And even when we die, we have to be reborn in the 31 planes of existence, mostly in the lower planes. This is why we have to practice meditation. As we do, we can eradicate these fetters one by one, little by little. A stream enterer eradicates the 2 kinds of ditthi and doubt. A non-returner eradicates hatred and attachment to sensual pleasures. And when we gain arahant, we eradicate all the remaining fetters. This is why we need to practice meditation. Now, let's go to Kilesa. Kilesa. We have 10 kinds of Kilesa. Briefly, most people think that there is just lobha, dosa, and moha, but there are actually 10 mental defilements. That's what Kilesa means, defilements. This is because Kilesas defile our mind. They make our mind impure. They torment the mind. What are they? 1. Lobha, greed. 2. Dosa, hatred. 3. Moha, delusion. 4. Mana, pride. 5. Ditthi, false view. 6. Vichikicha, doubt. 7. Thina, sloth. 8. Udaka, restlessness. 63. Las Vegas Sayadaw 9. Ahirika, moral shamelessness. This is a lack of moral shame. We're not ashamed to carry out immoral actions. This is ahirika. 10. Anotapa, moral fearlessness. So we have 10 kinds of kilesas, or impurities. Of these various kinds of immoral categories we've been talking about, anusaya is the strongest. This is why we separate kilesa and anusaya. Q. Anusaya is stronger than kilesa? Yes. So among the 14 unwholesome mental states, we have a number of categories we've been talking about. What are they? 1. Yusava 2, Oga 3, Yoga 4, Gantha 5, Upadana 6, Nivarana 7, Anusaya 8, Samyojana 9, Kilesa. That's 9 different categories covering the 14 unwholesome cetasika. The Buddha would classify these 14 unwholesome cetasika into varying categories depending upon his audience when giving a talk. Sometimes he would talk in terms of anusaya, whereas other times he might talk about kilesa or asava. We have these different categories because his audiences differed. But even though we have these 9 groups, what are they concerned with? Just the 14 unwholesome mental states. These 14 can be classified into many groups. We can reclassify them based upon their nature in a given context. 64. Akusala Sangaha. Mostly, though, we talk in terms of kilesas, or nivarana. When we hear a Dhamma talk, they don't usually talk about asava or gantha, right? But we hear the word kilesa a lot. These are all enemies for meditators. That's why we fight with them every day. Q. When you were talking about the na and middha, is it always akusala? Is it still akusala when we're really tired? Sometimes there may be a little bit of sasankharika, but it's not so strong. It is akusala kitta, but not strong. But, yes, the na and middha are akusala cetasika. Q. Should we try to reduce the na and middha even when we're really tired and sleepy? No. Sometimes we are tired and sleepy because of the needs of our body. It's not akusala when that's the case. But when we say, I want to sleep instead of practicing meditation, then it's akusala. Sometimes we feel sleepy because the body needs sleep. Mainly, though, it's our mind that tells us that we're sleepy. But it is the nature of the body to sometimes require rest. So let's look more closely at the 10 kilesas. 1. Lobha. This is attachment. What is lobha attached to? Everything. It is attachment to visible objects, sounds, smells, tastes, touches, and mental objects. It's attachment to existence too. Even if we gain jhana, we attach to that as well. We attach to objects and to the world. It's all lobha, greed, craving, attachment. What happens when a mental defilement such as lobha arises in the mind? Our mind becomes impure. Whenever they arise in our mind is not normal. Inevitably, we have to suffer. And it's all because of this kilesa. The more we are attached, the more we have to suffer. If we are attached a little, we suffer a little. If we are attached a lot, we have a lot of suffering. This is the nature of our mind. It's the nature of the law of karma. 65. Las Vegas Sayadaw. Most people aren't satisfied with what they have. They need more. This goes on for their entire lives. They never have enough and always want more. It's important that we study the books and the scriptures to understand this phenomenon, but more importantly, that we study the mind to address the problem. If we don't understand the consequences of mental defilement, then the problem continues. Let's look at some examples of how lobha finds its way into our daily lives. We're never satisfied with what we have, right? Maybe we have a good car, but it's old. So we decide that we need a new car. Although the old car was just fine, now we have to spend a lot of money on a new car. Do you think that makes us happy now? I don't think so. Normally, you can buy a cheap old car and not worry much about its safety. But you worry constantly about a shiny, new, and expensive car. Even at night, you might peek out the window to see if it's okay in the driveway. Or if you go somewhere with it, you're always worrying about whether someone scratches the paint. It's not just the car itself that we worry about. We also worry about the payment, right? What about our house? Our house might have a few bedrooms, and that's enough. Last year, a person I know bought a new house with 7 bedrooms. It was just 2 people. I don't know why they bought such a big house. Actually, it's because of lobha. Now they've got this big house. But they can't go anywhere because they have to spend every day taking care of it. Every day, they have to take care of the house, the payment, and the maintenance. Not only that, some families need to have a television in each room. A big television, too. Why do they buy all this stuff? Attachment. They're never satisfied with what they have. They always want more, bigger and newer. This is because of attachment. And because of this lobha, they have to suffer. If something happens to their property, they suffer. Whenever they leave their property unattended, they have to worry and suffer about it. They probably lose sleep as they worry about their stuff. Think about the debt that people build up. Because they never have enough. We have so many clothes and so much stuff. It's meaningless. This attachment binds them. How much income do they have? How much of it do they spend on stuff? Probably more than they make, so they have to use credit cards. 66. Akusala Sangaha. This is why people suffer all their lives. It's because of lobha, or craving. They don't know how to control their lobha. They see something and they just want to have it. They buy it, even on credit. It makes people suffer. People often have to get a second job, thereby giving them less time to sleep, so they can earn more money to pay for their stuff. Why do they have to work so hard? They have to take care of house payments, car payments, television payments, and so on. If you buy a newer, bigger house, you might only get to spend 4 hours a day there because you're working the other 20 hours a day trying to pay for it. We need to understand that attachment is the cause of suffering. It controls us. But we need to control lobha. Lobha is not our good friend. It is our enemy because it causes us to suffer. When we know this, we can control our mind. We need to be content with what we have. If we know our situation, know our income, know our spending, we won't have to suffer so much. Every day, we are getting closer to leaving this world. A day passes so quickly. Eventually, we die. Just working all the time is not good. It's not good when it's all because of our lobha. And even when we're not working, we're up at night, worrying about the stuff we're attached to. This lobha defiles and impurifies the mind. 2. Dosa. This is hatred. This is anger, aversion. When you're not satisfied with something or someone, you get angry. When you get angry, the anger destroys you first, and then perhaps others later. You get angry first, right? And then maybe you'll want to fight someone. See? Anger destroys you first. It's like a poison. Anger puts poison in your heart. It's very dangerous. When lobha and dosa arise, they are associated with moha. Attachment and ill will are always associated with ignorance, because moha doesn't understand realities, which is why lobha and dosa are allowed to arise. Dosa is not just anger. If you worry about something, it's dosa. If you're not satisfied with something or someone, it's dosa. If you're depressed, it's dosa. That's why dosa destroys your mind, your body, and your heart first, and then you destroy others. Normally, how does dosa affect our face? Usually, you can see a person and get a sense of whether they're a good person. They might look 67 Las Vegas Sayadaw pretty or handsome. But what happens when they get angry? The color of the face reddens. The whole body becomes stiff. Can you see how the face changes right away as soon as anger arises in the mind? Even if a person is normally pretty or handsome, how do they look when they are angry? Not good. The Buddha taught us that those who get angry often will be reborn ugly in the next life. In other words, you'll be reborn with an ugly face. It's not good. It's not good in this life either. When it comes to lobha and dosa, every day most people are mainly filled with greed and attachment. It just arises and arises all the time. How can we eradicate lobha and dosa and the others? We should have a method, right? When we discussed anusaya, latent defilements, I explained that the grossest mental defilements, transgressive defilements, are overcome by way of virtue or morality. Medium gross mental defilements, obsessive defilements, can be eradicated by concentration. We talked about this, remember? Whatever arises on the mental level, these obsessive mental defilements can be temporarily eradicated when we have good concentration. Latent defilements are eradicated by wisdom, by magga-jnana. When we gain enlightenment, we can uproot them, but it's very difficult to gain enlightenment. Until we do, what can we do to temporarily eradicate all kinds of kilesas? Well, even if we haven't gained enlightenment, by understanding our life, by understanding all kinds of mental defilements, by understanding the consequences of mental defilements, we can reduce their level and degree. We can make them lower and lower and lower. This is accomplished through our understanding. With lobha, we are attached to everything and everyone. It's just greed. This occurs in our mind. If we have a lack of understanding of this, our lobha may just get bigger and bigger, right? What do we need to understand about our life? We need to understand that the more we have attachment, the more we will suffer. We need to know the nature of attachment. We need to know the consequences of attachment. We should reflect appropriately. Why do I have to buy everything and be attached to everything? We should think about how nothing is permanent. We can die any time. We should think about this 68 akusala sangaha too. Why do I have to attach to sensual pleasures? I don't need to attach so much because I can die at any time. When you're attached to something, it doesn't just end with this life. Because of this craving and attachment, in the next life you'll become a hungry ghost. If someone buys a big house and a luxurious car and then dies with attachment to these things, they cannot go anywhere because of the attachment. Mostly, they stay around as hungry ghosts. This lobha, this craving and attachment, causes them to stay close to those things they are attached to. If you happen to have a lot of money in the bank, it's good to reflect that nothing is permanent and that you will one day have to part with that money. Even before death, you may have to part with it anyway, Perhaps you'll gamble it away or loan it to someone who doesn't pay you back. We might lose our property or lose our money. This means that our life, our property, and everything in the world is impermanent. Why do we have to attach so much to impermanent things? If we think about impermanence in this way, we can reduce our craving. As human beings, we have a duty to take care of our families. That's okay. But we don't have to work so hard to acquire the endless things we get attached to. We'll have a simple, happy, and easy life if we can reduce our attachments. We've been talking about ways to reduce lobha, right? What about dosa? Mostly, as ordinary worldlings, when we come across undesirable objects that appear to our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, or body, we get angry right away. When we get angry, we destroy ourselves first and then treat others badly. We find it difficult to eat, sleep, or enjoy anything whenever we have anger. So what do we have to do to reduce anger, aversion, hatred, dosa? We need to use metta, or loving kindness. We need to cultivate love for everything, but please remember that loving kindness and attachment are quite different. Attachment to something or someone is lobha. It's craving. That is a mental state associated with unwholesome consciousness rooted in attachment. On the other hand, loving kindness is a wholesome mental state associated with wholesome consciousness. The two are quite different. There are two kinds of love, right? There is lobha and there is metta. The two are very different. We often say, I love you. What kind 69 Las Vegas sayada of love are we talking about? Craving or metta? To reduce dosa, use loving kindness. This metta is very useful in society. It is necessary to develop this quality. How long will we be here on this earth? Maybe a long time, or perhaps just a short time. We don't know. I might go first, or you might go first. Who knows when we will depart? No one knows. Try to look at this life experience as if we are traveling together. Maybe we are traveling together on a plane. But according to our ticket, our destination, perhaps we reach some city, and then you get out. Maybe I transit, and then continue on. In other words, consider that we are just travelers, temporarily meeting each other for a short time. It's just temporary, so we shouldn't fight each other, right? This meeting is only temporary. Even if we don't like the way a person acts or speaks, it's just temporary. It won't be long before they get up and exit the plane. Think like this. As human beings, we should help each other when we meet. What can we do for others? Try to use loving kindness, help others, and then there are no problems. We can then spend our short time together without issues. Couples often fight so much. Why? A lack of loving kindness. We might say nasty things or use violence. A couple won't find happiness without loving kindness. If everyone had loving kindness in their hearts and minds, a group of 200 or 2,000 people could stay together like a happy family with no fighting. I will do whatever I can for you. And if you have an opportunity to help me, that's wonderful too. After you help me, I will be happy. And I will be happy if I can help you. See that, right? When you're helping someone, you feel very happy. And after you help them, you can think about the goodness of your deeds and feel happy. If we have loving kindness and help each other mentally, verbally, and physically every day, our world will be very peaceful and wonderful. We need this. To reduce hatred, aversion, anger, use loving kindness. Also, I will encourage all of you to consider the Buddha's teaching that there is no one who has not been a member of your family before, perhaps a brother, a sister, a mother, or a father. In the round of rebirth, this is not our first life. We have been born so many times that all beings, not just human beings but animals too, used to be our brothers, sisters, 70 akusala sangaha, mothers or fathers. There is no one who has not been a member of our family before. We should think of everyone as being a part of our family. We used to be family. Think like this. That was my mother in a previous life. Think like this, and you will feel happy. If you do something kind for someone, regard that person as your brother. You will feel happy. If we all had this attitude, and understood life in this way, how wonderful would it be? Instead, countries are at war because of mental defilements. We fight over attachments and hatred. So please use your loving kindness to reduce dosa, or hatred. Think about everyone you see as being a former member of your family, and then you won't get angry. It's good for you and good for others. 3. Moha moha is ignorance. It's a kind of mental defilement. It clouds the mind and blinds the eye. It prevents us from seeing reality. It doesn't understand karma, action, the consequences of actions, or the Four Noble Truths. It doesn't understand these things. We call this moha, delusion, or ignorance. Craving and hatred occur because of moha. Moha is like the leader. It associates with lobha and dosa all the time. Whenever you have attachment, craving or hatred, anger, moha is always associated with it. This is moha. How do we temporarily eradicate moha? By understanding. If we don't understand action, the results of action, or the Four Noble Truths, what do we have to do? We have to study. That's why we're studying these things now. We're studying the consequences of actions. We're studying the Four Noble Truths. What are the Four Noble Truths? Do you remember? Suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the way leading to the cessation of suffering. But moha doesn't know that. To know the Four Noble Truths, we study them now. What is suffering? Briefly, birth, decay, disease, and death are suffering. Associating with people you don't like is suffering. Disassociating with those you love, 71 Las Vegas Sayadaw, is suffering. Not getting what you want is suffering. Like slaves, having to take care of this body, these 5 aggregates, is suffering. Where does suffering come from? What's the cause? Attachment. Suffering arises because we are attached to sensual pleasures and attached to existence. If someone tells you that life in heaven is better than human life and offers you the opportunity to head to heaven immediately, will you take it? No, you want to stay here because you're attached to your existence. Because of our attachment, we have to be reborn again. Then, there is decay, disease, and death again. This is suffering. The cause is attachment. If you know this, you can reduce your attachment. The cause of suffering will then be reduced, right? What is the cessation of suffering? It is nibbana. If there is no attachment, there is no suffering. This is nibbana, the cessation of suffering. Moha doesn't understand this. But now we know that the cessation of suffering is nibbana. What is the way leading to the cessation of suffering? It is the middle way of morality, concentration, and wisdom. This is right understanding, right thinking, and so on. This is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. When we understand suffering, its cause, its cessation, and the way leading to its cessation, moha becomes a moha, or non-delusion. Moha is delusion, right? Non-delusion is wisdom or knowledge. When we have understanding about karma, the results of karma, and the Four Noble Truths, our attachment, our hatred, and our delusion are temporarily eradicated. This is because we are reducing lobha, dosa, and moha. So to eradicate moha, delusion, study. After we study, we practice. As we practice, we are walking the path leading to the cessation of suffering. As we understand that we're not supposed to have craving or hatred, as we understand cause and effect, we will reduce our lobha and dosa. Then, our suffering will also be reduced. So we need to study and practice in line with our understanding, our knowledge. 4. Mana 72 Akusala Sangaha Mana is pride, conceit, or arrogance. Arrogance is thinking oneself to be superior to others. If you think you are of a higher class, a higher family than others, this is conceit. If you think you are more wealthy than others, this is conceit. If you think you have greater power or position than others, this is conceit. If you think you are better educated than others, this is conceit. If you think you are more attractive than others, this too is conceit. This is mana. We cannot be happy when mana arises in our mind. There will be no happiness in our mind. This is because mana is a mental defilement, or kilesa. Those with pride or conceit walk, talk, and act a certain way, right? It's because they think they are superior to others. They think that they are more clever and more knowledgeable than others, and so they look down on them. They think that they are better than other people. As such, they don't care so much for others. How do we have to think to reduce our mana? Firstly, if we are a clever or wealthy person, we should use that fortunate position to help others. That's how it should be. Also, though, we should not overestimate ourselves. However rich or clever we are, it's just temporary. Besides, most people don't want to associate with people who have arrogance. They avoid such people because of the way they act, talk, and think. They tend to look down on others, so no one wants to be around them. We should consider that life and our property are impermanent. If someone says, "You're very pretty," you should consider what this means. What's pretty? It's only as deep as the skin. But what about below the skin? What about inside the body? We have 32 impure parts of the body. The Buddha called these impurities. If someone says, "Your hair is beautiful," you usually express appreciation and feel happy, right? But your hair is impure. If one of your hairs falls out and lands in your food, how do you feel about it? Your nails are so beautiful. If one of your nails landed in your soup, how would you feel? Your teeth are beautiful. Pull out one of your teeth and put it on your dinner plate. Or perhaps sit there and watch someone clean their teeth with dental floss after a meal. Maybe that's not so pleasant to look at, right? 73 Las Vegas Sayadaw. The Buddha called these impurities: head hair, body hair, nails, teeth, bones, skin, lungs, kidneys, urine. There are a lot of impurities in our body. See that, right? These are all impurities. Your eyes are so pretty. You shouldn't think like that. They're not pretty. Some people spend a lot of money on their hair and nails every week, right? They do this to try to look pretty. It costs time and money to beautify the face and the body. But what we really have to do is develop insight. We need to develop our mind. We need to elevate the mind to be higher and more pure. This means that we need to try to eradicate lobha and hatred. We can purify and elevate our mind by thinking and understanding our life and by practicing meditation. This causes our mind to become pure. We need to do this. And then, our conceit comes down to 5. Dithi. This is wrong view, or misbelief. Misbelief means not believing in the right way. In detail, we have 62 kinds of dithi, some of which we've talked about before. There are some people who don't believe in karma and results, right? They don't believe that there are consequences of unskillful behavior. This is wrong view. There are some who don't think it makes a difference when we give alms or offer support to a church or a school or a hospital. This is also wrong view. And there are those people who think that offering on a big scale, making a big contribution to a cause, is not meaningful. They say, "Don't do that. It doesn't matter anyway." Or perhaps they think that giving gifts, Christmas presents, or maybe wedding presents, is useless. These are all examples of wrong view. The scriptures talk about this. There are those who think that there are no consequences to our good or bad actions. They feel that we should just do whatever we want to do. But this is wrong view. Others think that this world does not exist. This means a belief that beings living in other worlds, like angels in heaven, cannot be reborn in this world after they die. People who believe like this think that when a being dies in another world, it's the end of their life. There's also the misbelief that there are no other worlds. This means that there are no other worlds to be reborn into after we die. They 74 Akusala Sangaha believe that everything ends at the end of this life. This is a kind of wrong view. Some think that there is no mother and no father. They think that good or evil done to parents produces no result. In other words, they think that doing good things for our parents yields no result, just as they think that doing bad things to our parents yields no results. This is wrong view. These people don't respect their parents. Because of a wrong view like this, these people believe that they don't have to take care of their parents. Likewise, they think their parents don't do anything for them. This is based upon misbelief. There are those who don't believe in spontaneously born beings. We have 4 kinds of beings, right? There are beings born from moisture, like mosquitoes. There are also spontaneously born beings, such as hell beings. When someone dies from this human world to be reborn in hell, he is reborn spontaneously. Or, according to our meritorious deeds, we may be reborn as an angel, God, or Brahma. This also happens spontaneously. It is wrong view to say that there are no spontaneously born beings. If a person thinks that he will not be reborn in hell for doing evil things, this is a disbelief in hell, or heaven for that matter, as the case may be. No gods, no hell beings. These people don't believe in these things. On the other hand, those who believe in spontaneously born beings like angels or gods will do good things. They do so believing that these good things might lead to rebirth as a human, an angel, or a Brahma. We think like this, right? Or, if we do bad things, we might go to hell, so we avoid doing bad things. We believe like this. This has to do with the existence of hell or heaven. But these people reject their existence, as they reject the existence of spontaneously born beings. There are also those who don't believe that there are noble ones, who can expound on this or other worlds through true, direct knowledge, in accordance with their own effort. A person like this does not believe that you can attain enlightenment through the practice of meditation. This is wrong view. They don't believe anything. This is false view. What do we tend to do when we have false view? Demeritorious things, mostly. Even when we do meritorious things, they are associated with wrong view. And because of our wrong view, we have to go to a woeful state after we die. 75. Las Vegas Sayadaw. What's eradicated by someone who practices insight, vipassana, meditation, and gains the first stage of enlightenment? Ditthi, or wrong view. There is no more wrong view. There's also no doubt. Wrong view and doubt hold people to the woeful states. This is why the Buddha said that it's very important to eradicate wrong view and doubt. To illustrate the importance, the Buddha said that if someone were to have their hand set afire, or a spear plunged into their chest, they should try to extinguish wrong view before they try to extinguish the fire, or remove the spear. Extinguishing wrong view is the priority. Remember this, it's very important. Why is this so important? This knife, this spear, or someone stepping on our chest, we could die right away, right? Maybe we believe that this is our only life. Or maybe the fire on our hand burns us completely and we die. Then, it's all over. If we hold the wrong view that there is no future life, we will do evil things in this life. In accordance with these wrong views, we will do these evil things and go to a woeful state in the next life. And when we end up in a woeful state, it's very hard to come back out. The way in is wide open, but the way out is very narrow. It's very hard to exit. The Buddha said that if you have wrong view, it will produce evil actions, and you will end up going to a woeful state. Then you will spend many, many lives in that state. Even if we don't go to hell, we could end up being an animal. And it's very hard for an animal to be reborn as a human being. We try to do meritorious things, right? People practice generosity, they try to keep their precepts, they do chanting and practice meditation too. But we're not certain where they'll be reborn after they die, right? Some may be reborn as human beings again, while others may go to a woeful state. But animals are unable to practice generosity, keep precepts, or cultivate wisdom. This is why it's very difficult for an animal to be reborn as a human being again. This is why the Buddha said that it should be our priority to first remove ditthi, and then extinguish the fire that is burning our hand. This is the nature of ditthi. Perhaps someone kills their parents. Why? Maybe they want the life insurance, money, or property. The money they get might sustain them for 20 or 30 years before they die and go to hell. If the person knew that he would go to hell for a long, long time, maybe he wouldn't commit the crime. But the person in this example doesn't believe in hell. This is wrong view. 76. akusala sangaha. Because of our ditthi, we believe that we can do whatever we want with our lives. We feel that there are no consequences of our good or bad actions. Whatever you want to do, just do it, right? No mother, no father, no this world, no other world. There is no existence after death. There is no rebirth. This ditthi is very dangerous. That's why the Buddha said that we should try to pull it out first. And those who practice meditation and gain the first stage of enlightenment eradicate both doubt and wrong view. When they do, the door to the woeful states is closed. 6. Vichikiccha. This is skeptical doubt. It is vexation due to perplexed thinking. We can't make a decision. It's doubt. Those who have doubt don't know whether it's appropriate to be generous. They wonder whether it's beneficial or effective. Because they don't have a firm belief in something, they can't make a decision. As they can't make a decision, they don't do anything. As they don't do anything, they don't gain anything. The reality of doubt is a mental state. It associates with unwholesome consciousness rooted in ignorance. You doubt and can't make a decision. This is because your mental state is associated with moha. But, as I just shared, doubt is eradicated upon attaining the first stage of enlightenment. What do we need to do to eradicate doubt temporarily? We need to study. When we study, we understand mind and matter, cause and effect. We will understand karma, the consequences of karma, and the Four Noble Truths. We will no longer doubt these things. This is why we need to study them. 7. Vina. This is sloth. This is sickness of the mind. It is the morbid state of the mind. The nature of vina is of two varieties. The first is very easy to understand. When we listen to Dhamma or practice meditation, we may experience some drowsiness. In that moment, you can't control your body. This is sloth, or vina. It's a kind of mental defilement. 77 Las Vegas Sayadaw. Actually, time is up for today. Thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Today is January 31st, 1999. Last week, we discussed the 10 kinds of mental defilements from attachment through doubt. Today, we will continue with vina. As I started to say at the end of the last class, the nature of vina should be understood as being of two kinds. The first kind is sloth, or drowsiness. Often when we sit in meditation or listen to Dhamma, we start to get sleepy or drowsy. We call this thi-na. It's very clear what this is, right? The other nature is sickness of the mind. This is the morbid state of the mind. When this arises, you don't want to do anything. This is also vina. You don't want to study, to read Dhamma, to do chanting, to practice generosity, or to do anything else that is good. You don't want to keep your precepts. You don't want to sit in meditation. This is the nature of vina. Do you remember when we studied hindrances, nivarana? The na-middha is one kind of hindrance. This na obstructs the way to the sensual, blissful state, the Brahma realms, and nibbana. It also prevents the arising of good thoughts. When the na arises in your mind, there are no good thoughts. You can't control your body either, right? You're sleepy. So how can you have good thoughts? Vina prevents good thoughts. And when you read a book, you feel sleepy and don't understand what you're studying. Vina obstructs the eye of wisdom. Wisdom cannot occur when there is vina. It obstructs the way. Vina stands between us and all good things. It is our enemy. It's not uncommon for us to sit in meditation for 30 minutes and start to feel sleepy. Then, meditation time is up. We get up, and the na is gone. It just arises and obstructs our way, our good thoughts, and our wisdom eye. When we studied mental states, I told you about the remedies and antidotes to the na. We talked about how to cure and eliminate it. It's good if we talk about it again, because this is very important, especially for meditators. Otherwise, the na obstructs our way and prevents us from doing good things. If the na arises in our mind, we cannot see the nature of mind and matter. This is due to a lack of concentration. When we lack concentration, no wisdom can occur. This is why we should know the 78 akusala sangaha techniques to deal with the na. We need to know what antidote we should employ to attack the na, sickness of the mind, when it arises. Remember that we have 9 ways. I'll explain this to you again because it's so important for everyone. When you sit in meditation for 5 minutes, how often do you start to feel sleepy and lose control of your body? We should use the Buddha's methods and techniques to fight with drowsiness. A. Firm resolution. When you sit in meditation or listen to a lecture, you often start to feel sleepy. If you just follow this drowsiness, you'll fall asleep and/or not learn anything. But with firm resolution, you change your mind or attitude. I will not allow drowsiness to overtake my mind. I will sit in meditation for 1 hour. I will try to concentrate my mind on my primary object. I don't want to sleep. This is firm resolution. It's necessary to have this. B. Accurate application of the mind on the object. We have a primary object of our meditation, right? It might be our nostrils, our abdomen, or perhaps a sensation. Try to observe this object. Here, our primary object is the movement of our abdomen, from the beginning of the rising, through the middle, and to the end. Our noting mind should follow the movement. When the abdomen begins to rise, rising, note this movement from the beginning, through the middle, and to the end. Follow the movement. Follow the object. This is what is meant by accurate application of the mind on the object. It is necessary to do this. Sometimes you may struggle with the drowsiness, if you only concentrate your mind on the rising and falling. If so, you need to add an object. First, note rising and falling. That is, know that your abdomen is rising and falling, and also know and note that you are sitting, rising, falling, sitting, rising, falling, sitting. If you add one more object, drowsiness can go away. If drowsiness doesn't go away, go to recitation. C. Recitation 79, Las Vegas, Sayadaw. You know some words from the chanting. Do the chanting again and again and again. When you recite some words, your drowsiness can go away. If you are practicing meditation alone, perhaps you can recite Buddho, 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 or perhaps Namo Tassa Bhagavato. We can use any words, make a recitation, and the na may go away. If it doesn't go away, then use another technique that we call mental recollection. D. Mental recollection. This refers to contemplating something we've studied. For example, we've studied unwholesome consciousness. In Pali, this is called akusala citta. With this technique, you think about akusala citta. Reflect on what it is. Citta is consciousness. Why do we call it unwholesome? Think about the meaning of these words. If you do, your drowsiness may go away. We call this mental recollection. If your drowsiness doesn't go away, then use another technique. E. Pulling the ear or rubbing the body. When you pull your ear or rub your hand, face, or body, you may become alert and your drowsiness may go away. This is another technique. Or, despite using this technique, you may still feel sleepy. If so, what do we have to do? F. Visualize light. Look at a light. If you're sitting in meditation, you may have a candle or other light in front of you. Look at it. Or, you can get up, go outside, and look at the moon, the sky, or the stars. Your drowsiness may then go away. This is called visualizing light. G. Washing the face. Wash your face with cool water, or perhaps even warm water, or take cold water and put it in your eyes. Your drowsiness may then go away. If not, use the next technique. H. Brisk walking 80. Akusala Sangaha. This is quick walking meditation. It's brisk walking, noting left, right, left, right, left, right. It's quick. By using this quick walking meditation, your drowsiness may go away. But even though you've tried these 8 different antidotes to drowsiness, you may still feel sleepy. If so, what do you have to do? I. Graceful surrender. This means acknowledging, okay, I'm sleepy, I need to sleep. But when you do, You continue noting every movement involved in the process of taking a rest. As you stand, you note standing. As you sit on the bed or lie down, you note these as well. You make a mental note of every movement, including such movements as stretching, bending, sitting down, touching, moving, changing, and closing the eyes. If your eyes feel heavy, note heavy. Do this until you fall asleep. As you fall asleep, you should know, now I have to take a rest. I need to sleep for a while. As soon as I wake up, I will resume my meditation practice. This is graceful surrender. As you wake up from your rest, note, waking, waking. Then return your awareness to the rising and falling movement of your abdomen. Rising, falling, rising, falling. Start to practice again. Start noting. These techniques are antidotes to the na, or drowsiness. Most people don't think of sleepiness as a mental defilement. Mostly they think of mental defilements only in terms of lobha, craving, dosa, hatred, and moha, ignorance. Without studying Abhidhamma, we would never know that the na is also a mental hindrance and a mental defilement. 8. Udacha. This is restlessness. This is our mind just wandering all the time. Our mind only stays with us when we practice meditation, otherwise we're just thinking about the past and the future. This is restlessness. This is why we need to practice meditation, to gain concentration. This concentration is peace of mind. If we don't practice meditation, the mind just keeps wandering all the time. It's restless and distracted. If you want to confirm that this is how the mind operates, just sit still and observe your mind. You'll see that it's just thinking about 81 Las Vegas Sayadaw something all the time. Even if we try to control our mind, to fix it on a present object, it's very difficult. It just runs away, right? Our remedy to this is that we need to concentrate our mind on one object. We need to practice samatha or vipassana meditation. If we don't, there is no way to keep the mind from being restless. With respect to the na and udakja, only arahants can eradicate these two mental defilements. Everyone but an arahant has to deal with drowsiness and restlessness. Even stream enterers, once returners, and non-returners have this. 9. Ahirika. This is moral shamelessness. This means that a person is not ashamed to carry out evil actions. If we are not ashamed to kill creatures, to steal someone's property, or to commit sexual misconduct, these are evil physical actions. If we are not ashamed to lie, slander, use harsh speech, or speak vainly, these are evil verbal actions. And if we are not ashamed to think in terms of covetousness, ill will, or wrong view, these are evil mental actions. This is what ahirika means. It's a lack of shame in carrying out these various evil actions. So how should we think? We should think, I come from a good, high-class family. If I kill something or someone, steal, commit sexual misconduct, or lie, this is shameful behavior. We should think like this. If we don't, we feel no shame in committing evil actions. We should think, I meditate every day. I'm not supposed to kill or steal. Think about your family or your teacher. I'm the student of a great teacher. I am the child of good parents. I'm an educated person. I shouldn't do this. This is shameful. In other words, think about your family, your teacher, your parents, your education, and your position in life. I'm the boss at work. If the boss kills, steals, or commits sexual misconduct, it's not good, right? No, it's shameful. When you think in a skillful way like this, you won't commit any evil actions. So we should think like this. 10. Anotapa, 82, akusala sangaha. This means that a person is not afraid to carry out evil actions. In other words, there's no consideration of how people will think about them if they kill something or someone, if they steal, if they commit sexual misconduct, and so on. These people fail to consider whether they will be punished in this life for their misdeeds. They don't think about the results of their immoral actions. Instead, if we recognize that sooner or later we will have to receive the consequences of our misdeeds, will be afraid to do evil things. Even very smart or rich people still have to receive consequences. Sometimes in America, we hear about someone with a lot of money getting away with a serious crime. Money talks, right? They can perhaps escape from punishment in this life, but they cannot escape from the law of karma in the next life. A person can run from the law now, but they cannot escape the law of karma. Whatever they did, they have to take responsibility for it in the next life. Mostly, these consequences are felt in the woeful states. So it's important that we think about this. Otherwise, we are unafraid to carry out evil actions. I remember a story about this. Whenever you do something, even if no one sees you do it, you know about it yourself, right? There may be holy ones who also know. This means that there are no secret places in the world. Let me tell you this old story from the life of the Bodhisattva, or our Buddha-to-be. The Bodhisattva was once a student at a very famous university where rich people sent their children. His chief professor had a daughter who was very pretty. The professor thought, "My daughter is now 20 years old. I would like for her to marry one of my 500 students. I want her to marry the student who is most clever, sincere, and honest. I will need to test them." The professor called his 500 students and said, "I have a very pretty, clever daughter. I would like to present her to one of you. To help me decide which of you is most deserving of my daughter, I would like all of you to go home and take something special from your family, maybe gold, diamonds, rubies, or silver, and bring it to me as a gift. Don't tell anyone what you've done. I will allow whoever brings the best gift to marry my daughter." 499 of the students went home, stole suitable gifts from their parents, and happily returned later to present the gifts to the professor. 83 Las Vegas Sayadaw, but one student was different from the others. The Bodhisattva had reflected on the professor's words. The teacher said that we are not to tell anyone that we are stealing, but I know what I will be doing. The Bodhisattva realized that, even if no one else knew about his dishonest deed, he knew about it himself. As such, he said to himself, "I cannot steal anything. There are no secrets in this world, because I will know what I have done." When the Bodhisattva returned to the university, the professor asked, "How about you? What did you get for me?" The Bodhisattva replied, "Well, you said that we need to take something from our family without telling anyone what we've done, but I cannot find a secret place. Even if no one else knows, I know what I've done. For that reason, I didn't take anything from anyone." Upon hearing this, the chief professor said, "You're very clever and honest, very sincere. For this reason, my daughter deserves you. I present my daughter to you for marriage." So, today, I would like all of you to bear in mind that there are no secrets in the world. This is true. You yourself will always know of your misdeeds. Perhaps holy people, or people who can read minds, might know as well, but at minimum, you will know. The professor praised the Bodhisattva, didn't he? He said, "You have good conduct. You're very clever. So I give my daughter to you." I'm talking about Anattapa, right? Even if you escape from the law, you cannot escape from the law of karma in the next existence. We've studied the 10 kinds of mental defilements. These mental defilements cause turmoil and conflict in society and the world. Why do we fight each other? Attachment and hatred, delusion, pride, and wrong view. Because of wrong view, we become selfish people. Not only that, but because of mental defilements, we encounter difficulty eating, sleeping, no peace of mind. We have to worry and suffer about everything we're attached to or hate. What starts as a latent defilement becomes obsessive, and what's obsessive becomes transgressive. Then, we commit crimes. When we commit crimes, we go to jail. Why? Because of mental defilement. It is because of attachment, hatred, and so on. We suffer because of this. Whenever you think about your misdeeds, you feel unhappy, and after you die, you go to hell or another woeful state. We can compare these mental defilements to fire. They are fires burning all the time. 84 Akusala Sangaha. What do they burn? They burn our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Just burning, burning. When you see something agreeable, there's lobha, attachment. The fire of greed and craving burns your eyes. You see this desirable thing and say, I like that. I want it. Or maybe you see a man or a woman and say, I like that person. Who knows, you might end up committing sexual misconduct. Or you see an expensive television, admire it, and decide to steal it. Can you see how it can go from the eyes to committing a crime? This is Kilesa. The fire of lobha burns our eyes. In the same way, you get angry if you see something that is undesirable. Hatred, right? Dosa. It burns you. It's another kind of fire burning your eye. The fires of craving and aversion burn the eyes and the ears. If you like or dislike something, it burns. The same applies for smells, tastes, touches, and the mind. We constantly think, I want this, or I want that. We might get angry at a person and hold on to that anger even years after they've died. Emotions continue to arise, right? This is burning us. When craving and aversion burn our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, can we sleep well? No, I can't sleep tonight because the fire is burning all the time. However rich you are, you're not a happy person if you still have mental defilements burning your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. You'll suffer over it. The fires of mental defilement burn your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. If you don't extinguish these fires, they lead to the fires of hell. Do you believe that? What this means is that our inability to control our mind can lead us to such great anger that we might kill someone. Or maybe we steal something if we can't control our greedy mind, right? After you die, you'll go to hell for it. But initially, these fires burn our sixth sense doors. They lead to the fires of hell. And then it's very hard to come back to the human world. So what do we need to do? For something like dosa, we need to use metta. For all of these mental defilements to be eradicated, we need to practice meditation. We need to do what the Buddha taught, which is the middle way. What is the middle way? The Noble Eightfold Path. The Noble Eightfold Path can be divided into three groups: morality, concentration, and wisdom. Our method to cure and extinguish all mental defilements is to have good conduct, morality, concentration 85 Las Vegas, Sayadaw, and wisdom. This is why we need to practice meditation every day. As we do, we are working to extinguish these fires. It's necessary to do this. We've been talking in terms of 10 kilesas, right? But lobha, for example, can also be viewed in terms of 108 types. I'll explain. There are three kinds of craving. Tanha. 1. Kamatana. This is craving for sense objects, form, sound, smell, taste, and touch. This concerns the sensual realm. This is very clear, right? 2. Pavatana. This is craving for exist, NCE. It means craving for the rupa or arupa realms. It is craving for jhana. It is associated with the view of eternalism, believing that everything is permanent. This is eternalism. It is a belief that we have a soul that doesn't die when our body dies. It's a belief that this soul continues to the next life. It doesn't perish. If you think like that, it's called eternalism. 3. Vibhavatanha. This is craving for non-existence. This is thinking that everything perishes and is finished after death. It is a belief that there is no more rebirth. It does not believe in hell or heaven. So we have these three kinds of craving. We also have 6 objects. This refers to craving for forms, sounds, smells, tastes, bodily impressions, and mental objects. The 3 types of craving, multiplied by the 6 objects, becomes 18 types of craving. These 18 kinds of craving can occur in the past, in the present, and in the future. So we need to multiply 18 by 3, right? When you think about the past, this craving can occur. It's the same for the present, and if you think about the future, it occurs again. That's why we multiply by 3. So that's 54 types. These 54 types can be internal or external. Internal means thinking about yourself. What are you craving? My eyes are very pretty. I love my beautiful nose. My face is good. 86 Akusala Sangaha looking. I have such pretty hair. This is internal. It refers to your body or belongings, but especially your body. You have craving associated with your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, hai, fingers, nails, skin, and so on and on. External refers to craving about external objects. Her hair is so pretty, or perhaps his teeth are beautiful. See how craving can be internal or external? For this reason, we multiply 54 by 2. This gives us 108 kinds of craving. This is for knowledge. We won't learn this in other books. Only in Abhidhamma will we learn how craving can go from 1 to 108 kinds. So, again, we have the 3 kinds of craving multiplied by the 6 sense objects. Those 18 kinds can occur in the past, present, and future, so we multiply 18 by 3. Those 54 kinds can be found both internally and externally, which becomes 108 kinds of craving. The 10 kinds of kilesas can become 1,500 kinds of mental defilement. This is why we need to practice meditation every day to fight with all of these mental defilements. How do 10 kinds of kilesas become 1,500 kinds of mental defilement? Citta means consciousness, right? Although we have 121 types of consciousness, their nature is awareness of the object. So there's just one nature. Therefore, let's consider citta as one. We have 52 cetasika. We also have 18 types of nifana rupa, which is concretely produced matter, as well as 4 types of lakkhana rupa. Lakkhana rupa refers to characteristics of matter. Remember the 28 types of matter? The last 4 are the characteristics of matter: production, continuity, decay, and impermanence. Altogether, we have 1 citta, 52 cetasika, 18 nifana rupa, and 4 lakkhana rupa. That's 75 entities, right? These 75 entities can exist both internally and externally. This means that we have mind, mental factors, nifana rupa, and characteristics internally, in our body. We can also find all of these in someone else's body, externally. This means that they exist internally and externally. For this reason, we multiply 75 by 2. This means that mental defilements can occur from our bodies, internally and outside, living things and non-living things that are external. This is why we multiply 75 by 2. This becomes 150, right? 87 Las Vegas Sayadaw. These 150 entities are the object or operation for each mental defilement. They are the objects of mental defilement. That's why we multiply 150 by 10, the 10 kilesas. That's how 10 mental defilements becomes 1,500 mental defilements. The fires of these mental defilements can lead you to the fires of hell. See that, right? So what do we have to do about this? How many types of craving are there? 108. This craving is the chief root of suffering. Why do we suffer? Because of this craving, we have to die and be reborn again and again continually in this round of samsara until we can eliminate these mental defilements and extinguish all of these fires. To accomplish this, the Buddha taught us a technique. It's called the middle way. We do this by observing good conduct, morality, by practicing meditation to gain peace of mind, concentration, and by eventually realizing the nature of mind and body for what they really are, via the practice of insight or vipassana meditation. When we have fulfilled this, we become a noble person. What kind of mental defilements do we eradicate when we become a stream enterer? Doubt and wrong view, right? When we become a non-returner, we eradicate hatred and attachment to sensual pleasure. And when we become an arahant, we eradicate the remaining mental defilements. We need to practice meditation to accomplish this. Now, we have finished talking about unwholesome categories. How many do we have? How many groups? How many group? Soha, Yoga, Gantha, Upadana, Nivarana, Anusaya, Samyojana, and Kilesa. That's 9 groups. Although we can divide these unwholesome categories into a group of 9, their realities are the 14 unwholesome mental factors. Now, having finished immoral categories, we go to what's called misa kasangaha, or mixed categories. 88